officially the time is upon us. It's week 1. We just watched the Thursday night game. The Ravens won, and we hit all of our bets. Now we're recording this on Wednesday, but it'll look cool if that's what happens. Instead of going through every single game this year and taking like an hour and 40 minutes, I figured that we can kind of just like pick the best ones. Like for example, like Tampa Bay Commanders, I don't really care about. Seattle Broncos, I don't really care about. I mean, there's just some that like I feel like we spent like maybe a little bit too much time on last year that we probably won't do this year. So pick some of our favorite games, obviously break them down however we see fit, and then continue on there. Does that sound good to you?
Sounds good to me. And if there are games like this will come out what day? Tomorrow?
Friday morning.
After the games are over, so I guess I don't know how it would work, but if there's games that you want us to talk about leading up into the week, put them in the comments.
Yeah.
Because odds are Commanders Panthers is not going to be on the list.
Well, Commanders fans, I don't give a shit about you. Go somewhere else for Commanders news. All right, go ahead. What do you want to do first? What is your first pick?
My first game that I got is Bears Titans.
Not Eagles Packers. Friday night.
I mean, I figured that was just like gonna be brought up at some point, anyways.
Let's start with that one. That's literally what I thought you were gonna start with. That's like the one to start with. Like you're an Eagles fan. The game's on Friday night. Like what? Like I thought that was the one that you were gonna go with.
See,
so my bad for.
I did a great job right there. I can't let you know my next move.
Yeah.
So
you also picked a dog shit. Go ahead,
dude. I have my reasons behind why I picked that game, though. All right, so Packers at Eagles on Friday night
in Brazil.
I know it. Okay. I was going to say in Brazil. Eagles are 2.5 point favorites. Over unders 48.5.
40. It's officially 49.5.
Okay. These lines were as of 12:30 Wednesday morning.
All right, I'm looking at the book right now. I have it up, so if you want me to read it, let me know.
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait for this game. I think it is going to be sick. I think I've said this plenty of times already. I think the Packers are going to win this game. I think there's too many question marks surrounding the Eagles for them to come out and be ready and beat a good team like this right away. Replacing 2 coordinators, a bunch of new guys on defense. Unsure of how the offense is going to look, although I've seen good things, but training camp is training camp. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I just don't think that this is a spot that the Eagles are gonna win. If anything, I realistically think this line should be Packers -2.5. They're playing with so much momentum coming off last season. Jordan Love looked phenomenal at the end of the year. They smoked the Cowboys in that first round, and then they were a quarter away from playing in the NFC Championship game.
Dude,
I'm unsure how the Eagles are the favorite in this game. I'm not gonna lie.
I have a scorching hot take.
Hit me.
The Eagles players need to shut the fuck up about how dangerous Brazil is and how they're.
I think they got yelled at for that.
Like, not allowed to leave the hotel. Like, first off, stop being so dramatic. People literally, millions of people visit Brazil every single year. And on top of that, you live in fucking Philadelphia, which is like maybe the biggest, one of the like top 10 most shithole cities in the United States of America. Like why are they like just shut up? Like the Eagles players, just shut up. You'll be completely fine.
Yeah, I think they got yelled at because Slay was talking about on his podcast literally exactly what you just said about how he's like, I'm not leaving my hotel, all this. And then a couple hours later, I saw that he put out a tweet like apologizing. So I'm guessing that Goodell sent the um, sent the black Escalades to his crib and said, "Hey, we're not doing that," because they're trying to. The whole point of these overseas games and out
to
of
grow it.
United States game is to grow it.
And
I
all
don't know
you
if I would have
see
picked
is
Brazil,
everybody.
but like
But that's
it's not
where
my job. But that's
that's where
besides
the
the
NFL
point.
that's where the
Correct.
NFL's popular. That's like why you pick it. Like I just think like them like being dramatic about them like oh like I'm not letting my family come to Brazil. It's like Brazil's like literally a beautiful country and you let your fucking family drive into Center City every single week. Like shut up. So Eagles players already starting the season on a bad note, being divas about going to a fucking beautiful South American country. But that has nothing to do with the game. Um, honestly, what I think the Eagles like win this game. There's really no reason why they shouldn't. The way I see it, the one bet that I do like is the Packers team total over at 23.5. And honestly, if that's the case, I
Yeah.
like the full game over as well. I think that they'll be able to kind of throw it all over the Eagles and throw it around the yard, but ultimately, I don't know. I just feel like the Eagles are everybody are on the Packers so hard and
Yeah.
everybody's against the Eagles so much that I just feel like this is a spot for the Eagles to just like come in and win and everybody be like, "Oh yeah." Um, that's really my like thought process behind it. I mean, if we want to sit here and talk about how like the Packers have like a bunch of firepower, like the Eagles have just as much firepower on offense, if not better. And I think that you can say that the weak point of the Packers team is their defense, just the same as the Eagles are. So I think a lot of points get scored, but I think that the Eagles are just a more talented football team top to bottom, and I think that they should beat the Packers.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you as far as like the over goes at this point. I had Packers plus 2.5, if that's still the line, and then
It is.
over 48, now 49.5. Um, I'm just nervous as hell for the defense. Like I think they brought in better players, but I just don't know as opposed to last year, but I just don't know like what it's going to look like. And we saw how good that Packers offense could look against the Cowboys and just throughout the back half of the season. I am concerned about that part of it and matching up and getting a stop, but I think at least I feel good about the offensive side of the ball. I mean, you said it already. There's star power all over the offensive side of the ball, so like that's not really my issue. It's more so just can they get a stop when they need
Bro,
it.
this I'm not trying to be like so over dramatic or anything. Like this feels like an absolute must win game for the Eagles. That and like I think that might sound crazy because it's literally week one of the NFL season, but like if you go over to Brazil and let's just say that they get their ass kicked or whatever, like their favorites, they go to Brazil, get their dicks kicked in. Like it is going like I know that like the vibes have been good. Well, those vibes need to turn into wins automatically to start the season. I feel like starting the season with a loss, the walls will start to close in just a little bit more.
I mean, if they go over there and get their ass kicked, then yeah, then that's a different story. But I think if the game is in within one score, then I don't think it's panic time by any means.
Oh, I didn't say it's panic time. I think this is a get the monkey off the back, get the stench out of the locker room. Let's go and handle business week one against a team that we're better than. And we know that we're better than. And let's go and show everybody why we're better than them. That's my
Are,
mentality in this game.
are we sure the Eagles are better than Green Bay right now?
I mean, listen, I don't know what happened to like the Eagles fans are already starting. It sounds like you guys are already starting to back off the bark a little bit. I mean, this team was a possession away from winning a Super Bowl 2 years ago. They started the season 11-1 last year and fell off towards the end. Yeah, I think the Eagles are still the top of the NFC until proven otherwise. I think that they're better than the Niners. Uh, that's That's what I personally think right now going into the season before week 1 has gotten played, and I think this line indicates that as well. I mean, it's in a neutral stadium, and the Eagles are favored by 2.5 points. So I think that the books think that as well.
Yeah, that's why I was saying earlier. I'm shocked that the line's 2.5 for this in the Eagles' favor. I think that if they lose week 1 that they're going to have a bad season? Absolutely not. Am I still confident in them being a playoff team? Absolutely. Do I think that with all of the turnover, there's more than likely going to be a slow start? Probably. And that's why I'm not like overly worried if they lose this game. Obviously I want to win. I'm an Eagles fan, but like I don't think it's worth panicking. I don't think it's the end of the world if they lose this game. I just think that there's too much new for me to like really feel phenomenal about winning this game.
Sounds like the walls are starting to close in.
Okay.
like I literally, like, your room is getting smaller. Like, I'm literally looking at your camera and your room's getting smaller. You're already starting to think about that plane ride back after the loss, and you're like, fuck.
No.
Listen, downplay it all you want. This is a must-win game for the Eagles. They need to put last year behind them completely, and getting a win opening night in Brazil with the whole world watching is the best way to do it. So that's what I think, and I like the Eagles to win this game.
What do you think about it being on a Friday night, or does it not matter?
I mean, I don't care. I don't do anything anyway. Why? Is that a concern?
I don't know. Like, I don't know.
I like it.
I don't care.
I like it. I wish
that it's
there
on
were
a Friday
games.
night either. I think it's. I like when the Eagles are in standalone games. Like all eyes are on them. Like I like that.
I wish
what you asked for.
I wish there were games every day of the week. So
That's what you asked for, is all eyes on you on the biggest stage, week 1.
And it's
biggest show in town. So
that's why they need to win it. I do think that, and I think that they will. I think that they're a better football team. I think a ton of points get scored though. All right.
Yeah, I do too.
What's your second game? So you have the Packers. I have the Eagles. Oh, do you want to do like what we did last season with the like we both picked 2 teams, or did we just pick one team? What did we do last year? I forget.
We kind of just picked like, I think we did like 3 teams, but I was the reason
me and you had a season standing long record of a team. I think we just picked one team that was like a must win each week, that we're going to a guarantee win.
Yeah. Do you want to just do we pick a spread and an over under, so we each have one thing to hold on to per week?
Let's just do an outright winner, like whoever.
Okay. Like the elimination, how we did last year.
Yeah. Go ahead. What's your second game this week?
My second game, I got Chicago Bears versus the Tennessee Titans.
Why?
I think that we saw both of these teams do about as good of a job this offseason as you possibly could to put their young quarterbacks in a spot to be successful. A lot of new names on both of these teams. L'Jarius Sneed, Pollard, Ridley, Awuzie, Kenneth Murray, Tyler Boyd, Keenan Allen, DeAndre Swift, Bayard, Caleb Williams, Rome Odunze, all that. I'm really excited for this game. I'm really excited to see Caleb Williams make his NFL debut. And I know this might not be like outside of Chicago, a lot of people's like game to watch, but I'm really excited to see how these go. We'll get a full season of Will Levis, hopefully, see where he stands as far as Tennessee goes. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this game. I think a lot of the Caleb Williams games I'm going to be excited to watch this year.
Is there any pause that rookie quarterbacks number 1 overall all time on opening weekend are 0-14-1 against the spread?
No, I think Caleb's different.
Okay.
So
you think the Bears are going to win? It sounds.
I do. I think the Bears are going to win. Right now, the spread as of this morning, Bears are 4.5-point favorites. Spread was 44.5.
Yeah, or the over under is 44.5. You can get
I'm
the
sorry.
Bears. You can get the Bears right now at plus 100 at minus 4.5.
Yeah, I mean, I just think the Bears have more talent on both sides of the ball than the Titans do.
I just think, yeah, I'm with you. I just think Will Levis sucks.
So my prediction for this game is I'm taking the Bears spread and under 44.5.
Okay, nice. I don't
A
have
bet that I already have for this game though is DeAndre Swift over 10.5 carries.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I don't have much to say about this game. I just don't think Will Levis is that good. Obviously, I'm excited to watch Caleb Williams play.
Yeah, I think like the main thing was just these. I want to see these two young guys go out and kind of develop the season, and if one does, great. If one doesn't, great. Vice versa. But I think both of these teams did a great job of putting talent around both of these quarterbacks to at least see what you got. I mean, I think we know what we have in Caleb Williams, but I think we're still unsure about Will Levis. I heard what Pete Prisco today on Pardon My Take say that he thinks Will Levis' trajectory is Josh Allen. So that was kind of crazy, but
maybe. I don't know. I don't understand the Will Levis hype. He's never been good. Like, there's never been a time like in his career where like he's been like really great. He's athletic, big, and fast, and throws deep. And I feel like he doesn't have anything else outside of his game other than that. And I think that he probably falls off pretty quick. But I mean, that's just like I said, it's just what I think. I mean, we saw last year he played very below average outside of him throwing like 2 deep shots to D Hop, which is his claim to fame, and everybody else pretty much throws out the rest of his body of work from last season. But yeah, I'm just not like a Will Levis guy. I don't think he's that good.
I'm pulling up Josh Allen's stats in college versus Will Levis. And I'm not really. This is great podcasting here. I mean, Josh Allen threw for more yards. No, he didn't. But Will Levis also played another year. Neither team really had talent around him. But then again, like if you don't beat out Sean Clifford for the starting job at Penn State, then that's probably a bad sign.
I mean, also like you're comparing, like he went to an SEC school and a Big
I know.
Ten school. Josh Allen,
I know, but Kentucky was not good.
They weren't good. They weren't great, but I mean, they have guys get drafted in the NFL every single year. Like he played with Wan'Dale Robinson one season when he had like a decent year. But I just don't think that he. Sorry about that, but I just like he was playing with guys who are getting
higher talent, of course, than Wyoming.
Yeah.
I get your point. But yeah, I thought that was an interesting comment.
Yeah, right. But yeah, right here it says EPA per play, 24th, success rate 27th, CPOE 21st. He's just like not that great. He just didn't show he was that great last year. He led the NFL in average depth of target in 2023. And then it says he makes Josh Allen look like Alex Smith at times for the neutral observer. So like I could see like maybe if you squint your eyes and tilt your head a little bit, like you can get that Josh Allen comparison. But ultimately, I just don't really love Will outside of his like arm talent
and his Mayo addiction.
That is like the worst bit ever.
It's so disgusting.
It's just a weird bit. Like I don't get it at all. All right, the game that I'm going to pick is Jacksonville at Miami. First thing that I placed was Jacksonville money line at plus 146. There's no reason why the Jacksonville Jaguars should not be favored in this game, or at least it be a pick 'em. Right now, the line sits at, excuse me, they're plus 3.5. Minus over under is 48.5. Yeah. Sunday game at 1:00. Weird time. Jacksonville is the king of the 1:00 slate. I just think that Jacksonville's better, and I think that for the first couple games of the season, we are going to get Jacksonville at a discounted price because people don't really like them that much. And I just think that they're a better football team than Miami Dolphins. I think that the Miami Dolphins defense still has a lot of concerns. They're going to be without their edge rushers to start the season, and they're going to have some spots around that are just like guys thrown into spots. I think maybe as they get healthier, we might see them rise to play a little bit more, but it feels like everybody's just throwing out all the Miami Dolphins injuries to start the season. And as of right now, Jacksonville is 100% completely healthy on each side of the ball. Both their guys are playing. They don't have literally anybody on the injury report. So I just like where we're at with that.
Yeah, it's a tough start going into week one, missing as many guys as Miami's missing, especially on defense, especially when you have to go up against an offense that we both think should be pretty good this year. I had Jacksonville as my pick for this game as well. And Jacksonville historically has played better at the beginning of the year. So hopefully, if you're going to go with Jacksonville, do it early. But then again, Miami also fits that same mold where they're a good team at the beginning of the year too. It is in Miami, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. I mean,
but
I don't think that ultimately matters at this point in the season. It's week one,
Miami has 0 home field advantage.
Yeah, I was just going to say that doesn't play any effect. The weather is going to be good no matter realistically where you go. At this point, but yeah, I have the Jags in this game as well. I think they're going to come out hungry this year. I think they're going to come out with something to prove. And I think they're going to do that week one against Miami. Miami's also not good against playoff teams. I know the Jags didn't make the playoffs last year, but they were on trajectory to do so. They just got really injured and had some really bad games toward the end of the season. But I think this Jacksonville Jaguars team's going to be a playoff team this year, and Miami's not good against playoff teams.
Yeah, I'm right with you. I think that, like I said, I think we're going to be able to get Jacksonville at a discount to start the season. Once people catch on, that'll obviously change. What's your next game?
Next game, I've got Texans versus the Colts. Interdivision matchup to start the year is always fun. A lot of people have CJ Stroud as his MVP. A lot of people are expecting a huge season out of him. I'm excited to see a healthy Anthony Richardson. This was actually one of the teams that he did play last year before he got hurt, and they did win 31-20, and he scored twice.
Nice.
I'm curious also to see what Stephon Diggs is going to look like in this Houston offense, alongside Nico Collins and now Tank Dell. He's healthy now and will be playing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean,
so right now the line is at -2.5.
Yep.
Texans are favored, and the over/unders at 48.5. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
So they're favored at Indianapolis.
Yep. I mean, I have a stat here regarding the Colts in week one, and since 2008, they are 1-14-1 against the spread in week one. So I think that's going to carry on. I've got the Texans -2.5. I also have the under 48.5. I think there's going to be some growing pains with Anthony Richardson. I think the Texans defense got better. And I think the Colts defense, I don't know what they're going to do at corner. I don't know. This could be a Texans put up 28 points and the Colts put up like 14, maybe like a 30-14 game. But yeah, I think that I just don't know what this Indianapolis offense is going to quite look like at the beginning of the season.
First thing I need to touch on, bad day to be a Stephon Diggs hater. He got named a captain for the team. So everybody that was bitching about him, he's going to be really good. We can go back to the players that we think are going to fall off this year. I said Nico Collins. Diggs came in automatically. I think Diggs is the guy in Houston. There's no reason for him not to be. So bad day to be a Stephon Diggs hater. Second, yeah, I mean, like that stat's pretty indicative of that, and I don't know. I don't have much of an opinion on this game at all, other than I want to
Also,
see what the offense looks like for the Texans and like who's getting the ball for them at wide receiver.
the other thing to keep in mind is like who has been the starter for the Colts since 2008. It's been like Andrew Luck, Matt Ryan, Carson Wentz, Anthony Richardson, and Jacoby Brissett maybe started week 1. So yeah, it's an interesting list of guys to be the
It was
starting
like
quarterback for the Colts for
literally
week 1.
like Carson Wentz, Philip Rivers,
Yeah,
Jacoby
Matt Ryan,
Brissett, Matt
Jacoby Brissett.
Ryan. Like it was a bad stretch for them, and they were down bad. So Anthony Richardson, hopefully he's healthy for the entire year.
Yeah, I have him as my quarterback in 2 fantasy leagues. So
Good luck.
I'm going all in. I'm going all in on AR-15.
Good luck. All right, my next team. So the Athletic actually released a poll today where they polled the front office executives and head coaches in the NFL of which team will be the biggest surprise in the 2024 season. And the number one vote on that team was the Arizona Cardinals. And the reason why I bring that up is because they are going to make that statement this week 1 against the Bills in Buffalo. Arizona Cardinals at Bills, another 1:00 game. Right now the spread is at +6.5, +250 money line, the over under at 48.5. I think that the strength of the Bills D is their interior D line. And I think that something that the Cardinals are elite at is they have a great run scheme that are going to be able to work around that. So I'm not really worried about that. So again, Arizona run scheme, I think it's elite. Second, you look at the Bills secondary right now, their starting safeties are Taylor Rapp and DeMar Hamlin. What
Not
more do
great.
I have to say about that? Like, I'm not
Not great.
ultimately like the Rasul Douglas and I forget the other guy's name, but I'm not overly impressed with their corners. I don't think anybody's super locked down. And I looked at their defensive depth chart today. Von Miller's listed as a backup, which is crazy. Von Miller is falling off quick. So up and down, outside of Josh Allen, I think the Cardinals are better in every single category. I think that the Cardinals have a sneaky defense this year with Jonathan Gannon. I think the Cardinals have better weapons on offense. I think they have a better run game. But outside of, obviously, they have Josh Allen, which is going to be the big indicator there, which of why they always have a puncher's chance in this. They're obviously 6-point favorites for a reason. But my favorite bet right now is probably Cardinals +6.5. And honestly, if you have a set of nuts, which I do, take their money line at +250. I think that this is my biggest lock of the week is the Cardinals are going to go in there and dog walk the Bills.
The other starting corner for the Bills is Christian Benford, and it looks like he has a face tat under his right eye.
And then what's the other guy's name? Webster? I forget his name. Their other corner. Tyron.
It's Rasul Douglas, Taron Johnson, or Tyron
Tyron,
Johnson,
yeah,
and Christian,
Tyron Johnson and Christian Benford.
Christian Benford. Yeah.
I just think their secondary is mid at best. Matt Milano's hurt as well. You look at their depth chart of linebackers, they have nobody.
It's rough.
I don't know who's going to cover Trey McBride. I don't know who's going to be able to keep up with K1 in their linebacking core from like a running perspective. I just don't see how they stop this Arizona Cardinals offense. And like I said about the Jacksonville Jaguars, we're going to have an opportunity to buy on some teams who are going into the season that people are sleeping on currently. The Arizona Cardinals are one of those teams for sure. If they don't win this game outright, they definitely keep this game within a touchdown. So yeah, I love the Cardinals this weekend. It's my biggest lock of the weekend.
One of the starting linebackers for the Bills is Nicholas Morrow, and he was a starting Eagles linebacker last year. So that should really tell you all you need to know from a defensive standpoint right now for the Bills.
I think that I think that what's not being talked about is they're just the Bills right now. I think that to start the year, like, I just think they're in a bad place. I mean, you look at their offensive depth chart and who their wide receivers are. We obviously, I think that they needed to do what they did last year, but that depth chart, like, just isn't very good. They don't have very good weapons on offense. I think their offensive line obviously still has it. I think Josh Allen still has it, but on the other side of the ball, that defense is a very below average group. They can't stay healthy, and the fact that you went from having Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer as your starting safeties last year, who are actually game changers in the NFL. They might be a little older now, to changing to Taylor Rapp and DeMar Hamlin. That's an incredibly crazy drop off. Like I said, I love Kyler Murray rushing yards this weekend. I don't think anybody's going to be able to keep up with him. And I think Trey McBride absolutely eats and attacks across the middle of the field. I just don't see how they stop him. I love the Cardinals. Like I said, biggest lock of the weekend is their money line. I don't see how they lose this game.
Yeah, for this game, I had the Cardinals plus 6.5 and then over 48.5. I think both of these teams are going to put up points. I think we could see a game in the 30s from each team.
Yeah, I'm letting you know right now. Listen, you're sleeping on the Cardinals defense. That's all I got to say. You'll catch up after the first few weeks of the game. That unit's very scrappy. They're going to be able to do some stuff. I don't think they put up 30 points against this defense.
This was one of the worst defenses in the NFL last year. I'm not
that's fine.
saying
I'm just saying you're sleeping. Yeah, you're sleeping.
They need to show me first.
Yeah, you're sleeping. You'll see after the first few weeks of the season. You'll be like, okay, yep, you know what, Stevie was right. Just like
that's fine.
I've got no problem. Every running back in fantasy every single year. He's right about every running back in fantasy.
I've got no problem admitting I'm wrong by any means. It's called being accountable.
Yeah, you're not like a big swing guy. Like, you don't like to take swings. You just like to just play it safe. Like, there's no swings out of you.
I'm not picking a defense that was the worst in the NFL last year to come out there and shut down one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. I'm sorry. I'm also not a Cardinals fan.
Who's his weapons? I'm not a Cardinals fan either. I'm not a fan of any team in the NFL. I'm not.
Okay.
What weapons does Josh Allen have? Unless if Josh Allen personally runs for 150 yards and 2 touchdowns, that's the only way that they're going to be able to do anything. Then I'll shut up. Like, if he goes out and rushes for 150 yards and 2 touchdowns, sure. They're going to have a big offensive game. Their weapons on offense, everybody just thinks that, to start the year, they're going to be completely fine. It's Khalil Shakir, it's Curtis Samuel, it's fucking Keon Coleman. I just think that is maybe one of the worst you're the guy who was talking about wide receivers all the time. That's one of the worst wide receiving cores in the entire NFL. I think so. Who do they have in their wide receiving core that's good? Nobody.
Oh, fuck. Hold on. I told you in one of our other episodes that I have Josh Allen as my MVP. And so with the responsibility of winning an MVP, you have to elevate the guys around you. And I think that's what we're going to see from Josh Allen this season. Now, I don't know if it's going to be right away because I already told you I have the Cardinals plus 6 as well. But
well,
I don't know. You were always a guy that said you don't need a star wideout.
But you indicated that they would put up 30 points. You don't need it.
I think they can.
You don't need a star wideout. What you do need, though, is to have a competent defense on the other side of the ball to take pressure off the offense, and they don't have that. That's what I'm getting at right now. Is that defense is not good in any way. You want to talk about bottom defenses right now? That is a bottom defense rolling out on the field for this season. Personnel wise, they just don't have anybody because they lose one of their key guys to injury constantly. And I'm not saying that if they were fully healthy, that would be the case. But as of right now, Von Miller's completely washed and they lose somebody every single week who would be an impactful starter for them. And I think that nobody's talking about that. I don't think that Josh Allen is going to be bad. I just think at points in time, you watched it last year with the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. They had a low tier wide receiving core, but that defense was playing at such an elite level that it allowed the offense to make mistakes. It took some pressure off of the offense because of how high level that defense was playing. And I just don't think that the Bills have that.
I think as an offense, the Bills already know that Josh Allen is going to make mistakes and he's going to take chances, and I think they're going to be just fine.
I guess we'll see. Hey, board bet. You're wrong. You're wrong about the Bills.
I already picked the Cardinals, and
You're
I picked the over.
You are wrong about the Bills. I am going to come out and say that right now. You are dead wrong about the Bills.
So what, do you just think they're not going to make the playoffs, or like what is it's just one game that you're or like what is like
I think that as of right now, I think that if you're a Bills fan and you're looking at everything and you're like happy and dandy that the season's starting, I would be petrified if I was a Bills fan. They aren't good. They don't have any good players on that team. They don't. I don't care. I just don't think that they have good players on the team. Like I said, if you want to point out of a unit, like I think that their offensive line's pretty good, and I think that their interior run defense is solid. Outside of that, and Josh Allen, because Josh Allen's the second best quarterback in the NFL. Outside of that, it's just not a great skill group. And I think that Kincaid could be decent, but like I said, I don't think that you need a top tier receiving core. But if you were looking at me right now and being like, dude, the Bills are going to be one of those teams that run the ball a lot, hit the tight end a ton, and him and James Cook are going to be like a dynamic duo from like a rushing perspective, I would agree with you. But then I would need to see some big steps on the defense to keep up with a team like the Arizona Cardinals, who are going to legitimately put up points in every single game that they play this year. I think that the firepower on the offensive side, when they play one of these big dog offenses, they're going to struggle.
When the Cardinals play a big dog offense, you're saying?
No, when the Bills play a big dog offense, they are going to struggle. You are dead wrong about the Cardinals defense. They're a good group this year.
We'll find out. But I'm not ready to stamp them after how bad they were last year. They're scrappy, no doubt, but they weren't good.
They weren't good, but like I said, it's
we'll see. It's a new year. That's why we play the game.
It's checks and balances in the NFL, and I think that there was a lot to do with the fact that they had Josh Dobbs and Clayton Tune playing at quarterback for majority of the year last year. But that's just what I think.
Yeah, we'll see. That's why we play.
Go ahead.
All right. My third game is Rams versus Lions. Rematch of the divisional round of 20 in last year's playoffs. A lot of people like the Lions. A lot of people like them to come out of the NFC. I think this offense can be even better than it was last year. I think this defensive unit's going to be even better than it was last year. I think they improved in their secondary. You said it already. You've got Aiden Hutchinson as a potential defensive player of the year. I think he's going to go out. He's going to have a big season as well. One thing that I wrote down here is it's wild how quickly this Lions narrative has turned around. Just 3 years ago, they were 3-13, and now they are people's favorites to make the Super Bowl. It's insane how great of a job they've done turning this franchise around. I don't really have much to say about the Rams. I'm unsure about how their defense is going to look. Not worried about their offense one bit. They've got plenty of talent on that side, but we'll see how that defense ends up, because their defense played above their pay grade last year, and odds are that doesn't happen again this year. But again, that's why you play the game.
Right now, the spread sits at 3.5. Obviously the Lions are favored at home, and the over under sits at 51.5. So a lot of points. I think the Rams win this game by a touchdown. I just, like, we see it time after time. Like, week one's a weird week. A lot's going on. the Lions have a lot of new guys on defense that I think that they will be a great unit over the course of time. But when you're going up against Sean McVay and the Rams, like they're going to expose literally everything, and I believe in them to start the year. So yeah, I think the Rams win this game by a touchdown.
I have a lot of underdogs winning this week, but this was not one of those games. Jared Goff is 7-0 against the spread in week 1 in his career.
Yeah, I saw that today.
And I'm gonna
Bro, can I
to
say
that.
can I say something really that's been like bugging me for some reason? Like I get it. Everybody loves the Lions. They're really good. They play like, oh, they play 14 out of their 15 games like inside of a dome, like blah blah.
Yeah.
Like when has that like the other teams are also playing in the dome as well. And I think that I think when we look back, like when this season's over, I think that is going to be one of the most overstated dumb, like people are going to be like, why the fuck were we talking about them playing games in a dome? Like, I think it matters, like kind of, but like every team that they are also playing in the dome as well. Like it's not like
But I
different
think it's
conditions
because
for them.
but other teams also aren't playing in the dome the games they're not playing the Lions as off. Like, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, it is. I just think that like it's a
I don't
dumb
think
narrative and I think it's dumb. I think it's like ridiculously overstated. Every single talking point for every person talking about the Rams, well, they play every single game in like a dome, like blah blah blah. It's just like, all right, I don't know what that doesn't mean anything to me. Like we never talk about that like ever for any other football team, like ever.
Never.
And there's a lot of teams that play in a
Yeah.
dome, and probably like if you look at their schedule, like they play in a dome like for I don't know. Like we could probably look at the NFL schedule this year, and like the Raiders might play in like 15
How many
fucking
games do the Texans and the Rams play? They both play in domes.
Yeah, so I just think that like that is like I know that you didn't say that, but like that is
It is,
some something that I keep hearing that I'm just like, that is going to be the dumbest point I think that we take. That's my prediction for this game is that
yeah.
when the season's over, that's going to be a dumb take.
Yeah, I agree with you, and you're right. I never ever really heard anybody talk about that, but I think like the most important thing that you mentioned is it doesn't matter about like the other teams also playing in a dome. It's not like,
Yeah.
oh, the Bears are on offense, got to go outside.
Yeah.
I don't
it's
really
too overstated.
I'm putting actually zero emphasis on that. It doesn't really make me look at the Lions any differently if they were outside or inside, because I mean, realistically, how many games are that affected by weather in the NFL until like the end of the season in the playoffs? Like probably there's probably out of all of these games, it's probably like 5 to 8 games where there's significant rain or wind, and then we don't really get snow until like the playoffs. So I don't really think that's that big of a deal.
No, I don't either.
Besides, you're from Detroit, and like apparently everybody from Detroit is just like hard nosed, steel toe. Like I'll play on the concrete, so kind of soft of them to have every game in a dome, if you ask me.
Also, if the Lions win a Super Bowl and they play like 20, like 19 games out of 20 in a dome, there's an asterisk next to the Super Bowl.
Why is actually I do now that like we are talking about that, why do we not see like we always talk about how the injuries with the turf, is the MetLife turf just dog shit and that's why people get hurt? Because I feel like nobody gets hurt on the Lions turf.
Dude, there's a million fields that have turf.
Yeah, I don't get why it's just like MetLife is the only one that people are like, oh, I don't want to go play there. But people are like, oh yeah, like I love playing in Detroit.
What nobody talks about is there's 2 teams that play home games on that turf. So
there's twice as many games.
So that's probably why there's more injuries on that turf. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. All right.
I didn't even think about that till right now, but yeah.
My last game that I have is the Chargers at the Raiders. not much to talk about. The Raiders aren't good. And if I think the Chargers are who I think that they're going to be this season, they should go out and handle business against the Raiders this year. I'm excited to watch Jim Harbaugh. I'm excited to see the new identity of this football team. I think that actually the Chargers have a sneaky good defense that hasn't been able to get the most out of them because Brandon Staley has been absolutely cucking them. And I think that we're going to see a new style of defense this year that actually pushes up their guys to like have good years. Like we saw Khalil Mack last year have a quiet 19 sack season. I expect it. There's no reason for me to think that he has fallen off. He's still playing at a high level. I just think that this team is better than the Raiders. They have better quarterback, better run game. They have a tough defense, and they have their identity that they're going for. With the Raiders, I just don't know like what I'm going to get out of them offensively. We talked about it. I just don't like Luke Getsy. There's a reason that Chicago fired him. He hasn't really done that good of a job. And then I think Antonio Pierce is a charity case, and I really don't foresee him having that same mojo pushing into this season.
Can you explain to me like the hype around Zamir White?
What about it? What do you mean the hype around him? Who's hyping him?
Just like from a fantasy perspective, is it just because he's like the number one back on this team and he's expected to get all of the touches, or like what's going on? Because I feel like this is significantly overblown.
I don't know. I've never heard of him. I don't think he's good. I didn't even think he was good. I didn't think he was getting hyped that much either. Personally, I didn't notice it at least. I mean, he's projected like 13 points in fantasy. Like, I just don't think like it's like whatever. He's like a whatever player.
Yeah, I keep seeing like so many of these IG reels about like all of this fantasy stuff, and he's a guy that just keeps popping up. It's like, oh, if you want to win your league, take this guy, and I'm like, why would I ever take Zamir White to be one of my stud running backs if I'm trying to win a fantasy league?
I have no idea. Coming from somebody who has won a fantasy league, personally, I don't know. I would never take him, but that's just me.
I wouldn't either. I've also won one, but yeah, I would not put him on my team.
Yeah, in your fucking candy cupcake fucking Mickey
I played in a 20-man league back in Penn State.
Whatever. No receipts. I don't believe you.
I actually did win. I did win a year back in Penn State.
How many people were in it?
It was 10. No, it was 10.
Shock cupcake Mickey Mouse league that Noah play in every single year because he doesn't like to challenge himself. All right. Do you have anything else?
I challenge myself waking up every day, brother.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have anything else that you want to go over here?
I do want to ask you about this Ja'Marr Chase situation. So did you see that he's practicing today? He practiced?
Yeah.
What, like, I assume that means he's going to play?
I texted you guys and said that he wasn't going to get paid. Like, what's there to talk about? He's not getting paid. He's just going to play.
So he's just folding and giving in and playing.
He's not. There is not any there. Listen, whatever. Clip this if I'm wrong. He's not getting a contract. There's nothing to talk about. The owner came out and said, you have 2 years left on your deal. We don't do contracts like this with the Cincinnati Bengals. You have to wait until the season's over for us to talk about your extension, and like made it extremely clear and upfront. And that's all that needs to be said. And he's going to play this year. It's that simple. You have 2 years left on your contract. These wide receivers, we're going to look back. I talked about this over the summer last season. We're going to look back at a time and these wide receivers getting these big of deals and these quarterbacks getting these big of deals, the guys who like are just don't really deserve it, in my opinion, like Jared Goff making $250 million a year. It's bad for team building. Paying a wide receiver $40 million a year, $35 million a year. It's bad for team building. It takes away from everything else that you're doing. So yeah, I just think that we're going to look back in 2, 3, 4 years and everybody's going to be like, why the fuck were we paying wide receivers 15% of the cap? That was the dumbest shit we've ever done.
I just pulled up his contract. And obviously still rookie deal, 4 years, 30 mil, average salary is 7.7, which is just disgustingly low compared to all of the extensions that we've seen.
Yeah,
That's
and
crazy. I
but
get
I
him
mean,
wanting more money, but he
but
can't
he's
really do anything.
he's under contract. Like what everybody doesn't understand is everybody's like, well, they should just pay him. Like they're going to pay him anyway. People don't understand that it sets a bad precedent then going forward in the NFL for every other player, every other agent that comes to their desk and tries to negotiate a salary. What the Browns did with Deshaun Watson ruined the quarterback market. And now we're watching the quarterback market get completely ruined. And they have to pay everybody $250 million. This is the same situation where it's like, we cannot allow these guys to have too much power in this situation because then it messes everything else up. So that's what's going on right now. Like I said, I just think it's a bad spot for everybody to be. But
maybe the Bengals just don't have the money too.
I think it'll get corrected. They don't have the money. I mean, that's why they're not paying T. Higgins. So they do have the money to pay Jamar Chase, just not when he has 2 years left on his contract because he needs to honor playing out that contract. That's really what it comes down to.
This situation reminds me of that SpongeBob meme where Squidward's like sitting inside and he sees Patrick and SpongeBob running outside, and that's all those two are the other wide receivers in the NFL getting their deals, and Squidward's Jamar Chase just sitting inside upset.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
anything else that you want to touch on before we end this?
I don't have anything else. What my plan is usually I'll probably be betting on the Eagles and Packers game tomorrow or Friday morning at some point. So I'll just post all of my slips in the Discord and go from there.
Yep, join the Discord. Go ahead.
I was gonna say there was another odds boost today on DraftKings. If anybody uses DraftKings. It's like the happy hour boost. And today's was Justin Jefferson and Stephon Diggs to each record 50 plus receiving yards, boosted to 150.
Yeah, I mean that's
I don't know if I'm gonna. I might take that one too.
I just don't like placing stuff like that. I don't know why. It's just like doesn't. I don't know why. I just never place that stuff. I mean,
normally what happens is they get boosted, everyone takes it, and then it loses by like 3 yards, and then I spike my phone on the ground.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yep, but definitely join up on the Discord, talk in the chat, post your bets, do whatever the hell you want. Well, whatever you want, you will get banned.
Yeah, definitely don't do whatever you want.
But yeah, that's pretty much all I have for today. I will have this up.
All right.
See you, brother.
Week one starts. Well, tomorrow. I guess the time that you guys see this, it will be
started
yesterday.
And the Ravens won.
The Ravens won.
White clouds blowing out when we max 4-5.